Hey guys, and welcome. There is a new exciting announcement for CodeSpring. We are bringing out a brand new feature called Scouts. Now, in this video, I'm going to walk you through what Scouts are, how they work, and why you need to be using them. I'm going to walk through how it turns and works out with your credit usage. But before we get into any of that stuff, which is really exciting, and some of the updates that are coming in the future, I want to answer a couple of questions because we have some more exciting announcements. So, at the moment, we are working tirelessly on the back end and improving performance and stability. All of your feedback, all of your bug reports, everything that you have sent to customer support has been so endlessly valuable. I cannot state it enough. So thank you so much if you've been patient with us. We have scaled at an abnormal rate. It's ridiculous how many of you guys are now using the software, and because of that, there are obviously occasional issues. We're a brand new company. We're a team of 4 people, myself included, so a very, very small company, and we've only been around for, I don't know, about a year now. We're coming up to our first year's birthday, and we've really only started scaling in the last 4 to 6 months. So thank you so much for your support with CodeSpring. What you will notice over the next 30 to 60 days is a huge improvement in stability, UI, user experience, and all of the features that you're currently using right now are going to become a lot easier to understand, a lot easier to use. There's some things we're working on in terms of user experience, which buttons to click, how to use things, how to do things correctly, but also things like if you've ever been disconnected in Orchestrator. The reason this is happening is because we have so much usage. Every single time we upgrade the servers, we get a whole load of usage and we have to upgrade again and again and again, and we're just endlessly chasing, basically boosting our servers because there's so much usage, which is an incredible thing because you guys are loving the software so much, but equally it is making it a little bit unstable for you guys. So we're making a huge change to make sure all of that is going to be stable moving forward. So that's one thing I want to let you guys know. And we're working on more training documents. I've got Hussein, who's now joined the company, so he's coming on board. You'll notice him inside the Discord soon. He will be doing live calls with you all once a week where we'll answer questions on the software, help you with AI coding and development and building. I'll get on some of those calls and we'll do some FAQs and things. We'll get a chat sorted out in the Discord at some point as well. There's going to be a whole refresh and upload to all the courses. So there's loads of stuff coming with that, but I want to spend this video really talking about Scouts because essentially a lot of people are using CodeSpring. But they've asked us, okay, well, once I've got it built, once I've got my mind map created, why do I need to keep using CodeSpring? What can I use it for after that? And the question is a very good one. The answer is actually quite simple. So there's 2 reasons. One, if you've built something on CodeSpring, designed something on CodeSpring and you've built it on Lovable, for example. If you then make a change on Lovable, you want to add a new feature, rather than just prompting Lovable to do it, you can then go ahead and ask Orchestrator to design a new feature for you. Additionally, if you add a feature on Lovable that isn't on your plan, you can then tell Lovable to add it to your plan. So if you ever bring on a developer in the future, there's a full knowledge base on how your software is built. But we understand that as AI gets better, the gap between what needs to be planned and what actually is being built is obviously shrinking. And I want to provide additional tools to you guys, especially if you're business owners as well, to make life easier and more powerful using our software. And that's why we've introduced Scouts. And essentially, this is going to be our business application side. Okay, so all of you are, as existing users, will be able to access Scouts. Currently, we're not limiting it for different payment plans. Obviously, if you're on the business plan, there are other features that you can access. But right now, Scouts is going to be accessible for everybody. And essentially, one of the best ways of describing it is competitor research. So I have this app, for example, and I actually, you may have seen me talk about this on the demo, but essentially, this was created from a GitHub repository. So we scanned the GitHub, we designed this whole mind map here, and this is all created visualizing from the code base. And then what CodeSpring has done is it's found us competitors. So it's an AI B-roll maker, which essentially will assemble B-roll clips for any video that I'm creating, and it will generate them with AI, and it will animate them with AI. Now, what I want to know is, okay, if I'm building this as a business and I've got users and I'm using it, it's my company, I want to know what my competitors are doing, because if my competitors add new features, for example, or they've changed their pricing, that means my customers might move to my competitors, okay? And equally, if you make better features than your competitors, you can steal your competitors' customers. And this all comes into a larger picture of validation that we are building into Scouts as well. So essentially what we're creating with Scouts is the ability to run automated automated market research on your competitors and find out if your product is good, what features you need to add, what your target audience could be like. And eventually we want to automate marketing through Scouts as well. But right now we will find your competitors like this. And then what you can do is you can actually come to Scouts here, and I'll walk you through a full tutorial here. So first thing you need to do is create a new Scout. Now right now this is very rudimentary. This is Scouts version 1. We are bringing on a whole catalog, much like the catalog that you see when you come into the MCP servers. We're going to create a catalog of various Scouts that you can use. We're going to come up with loads of different options for you guys for that. But for now, it's all manual. So if you come into Scouts, you can actually create a new Scout. Okay, so we can call this one Competitor Analysis. Okay, and this is going to be keep track of competitor, feature updates, for example, because I want to know if my 5 competitors have added any new features in the last week that we should be adding to keep ahead or keep up with our competition. And we can turn this on and we can set a schedule. So for example, I want this to run every single week, okay? Every single week, I want you to go ahead and do some competitor research. So what we can do is actually write a simple prompt in here to tell the AI what sort of scouting it needs to do. So what I've done here is I've just written a very, very basic little prompt. And I will say the prompt and the system prompt is very, very important, which is why we're going to create the catalog to make it easier for some of you guys who aren't so good at prompting. So this is just an example of where we have a very, very basic prompt. The better your prompt, the better the output is going to be from a Scout. But what we've said here is you're going to be analyzing my 5 competitors from my mind map every single week. And I want you to keep track of what features they have and what features they have just added. And if you can tell me the times and dates when these new features were added, we're going to use this information to help keep track of what features we should add to keep up with our competition. Now, this very much depends on whether or not the company that it's keeping track of has publicly displayed or done a public post on, okay, we've launched this new feature on this specific date. But if they have, then Scout will keep track of it. And then we just need to create a Scout. So you can see here, I now have my list of Scouts, okay, and you can filter by active or paused Scouts. Currently, I only have 2 active Scouts. This is the new one, and actually what I'm going to call this is I'm just going to call this Competitor Analysis Demo, so I know this is the new one. Now, all you need to do with a Scout is just click on Run, and you can see here it's going to run in the next 3 days. Now, what's going to happen is Scout is going to go out and it's going to queue a task, and this task is going to be competitor research. It's going to look at our current mind map, it's going to look at our current features, and then it's going to start researching. It's going to start searching the web across social media. At the moment, it just searches on online, on websites, but we are adding the functionality to search on Reddit, search on social media as well. And then any posts or updates that have been done by that company or from your list of company competitors, any features that they've added, it will then create a full report for you. So I'm just going to show you in a second once this starts populating. Okay, and just like that, it has got the project context, so it knows, okay, this is what the project is, and you can see here, okay, we're looking at the AI B-roll maker, and now it's going to start searching the web, and it's going to start looking for, okay, well, Veed.io is one of our competitors. Have they added anything in their changelog? Are they adding any new features? And all of this is going to be automated, so we can actually leave the app and we can come back. There we go. That is an example of how much usage we're getting. I've just had to upgrade the servers again just to make sure that these Scouts run properly. There's so much usage we have on the platform. So I'll do another test as well, but I just wanted to show you, this is a real life example. So this shouldn't happen for any of you guys, but if it does, please let us know and we will make sure that that's going to run. But basically, you can see here from the basic run that it's done, obviously there's a couple of errors. It was going to search more websites, and I'll do another example in a second. It's created us a full output report, okay? So I can come into this one, for example, and you can see it's run on multiple days. Okay, and I was actually filming tutorials, and that's why it's run on multiple days, because it's supposed to run once a week. But you can actually run these manually. So for example, you can see here what it did is it got the project context, it searched the web, and it will search the web for each competitor as much as it thinks is useful, and then from that it will create a full report output. So for example, here's a quick scan of your 5 competitors and what they have added recently. So we've got Veed.io, which is obviously, if we come to our mind map, we have Veed.io, we've got Descript, Capwing, Runway, Pika Labs, right? We can come to our Scouts, and we can come to our report here. So we've got Veed, Capwing, Descript, Runway, Pika Labs, and you can see, okay, well, Here we go. Scope competitors from mind maps. Summary of findings this week. Some sources did not meet explicit dates or dedicated change logs. So some companies haven't actually told us, this is the date that we've launched this new feature, which is totally fine. That will happen. It just depends on the companies that you are checking, your competitors, for example. But you can see here, current marketed capabilities for Veed.io. You can have auto edit. So there's a magic cut system, AI clips, which is essentially a repurposing tool. So these are features. Obviously, this is dependent on the product that you're running, right? So it's very interesting to run this for your own project. Especially if you have an existing code base, an existing project, you can import that into CodeSpring, visualize your code base, and then you can run market research on it to see what your competitors are doing. And I'm using this a lot to make CodeSpring better, and I can tell you it's incredibly powerful. That being said, we are one of the only companies out there in the world that are doing what we're doing right now. So you can see here newly highlighted updates. So fresh from Veed, hot releases on what's coming. So it calls out an all new AI agent. So we can actually click on this and we can see, okay, what did they run? Okay, what have they launched? We can actually read, okay, well, this is obviously in April, and we can read what are the new features that they did, right? So obviously this was a webinar, so you had to go to the actual event to see it. If we come to this competitor analysis, for example, which I think is having more details, because obviously this one we ran out of credits, but you can see here Veed.io, it shows us, okay, well, they've added captions, okay, and then what it'll do is it'll prepare, okay, so this one, lots of webinars, resources for Capwing, for example. We can come onto their site and we can see, once this loads, okay, introducing all the latest AI features at Capwing, and it's reading, okay, what are the latest features that they have added, and you can go through and you can see, okay, well, they've got a script generator, trim with transcript, all of these things that they have added, but obviously Scout will go ahead and summarize it, okay, so they've got Capwing Copilot, right, for natural language editing. They've got Smart B-roll, which finds and inserts relevant B-roll from transcript keywords, which is a really exciting feature, okay, and maybe you could look through this and say, okay, well, I think some of these features are going to be useful to us. So what we can actually do is we can say, right, well, Capwing Copilot seems like a good one. We can now actually add this to our product, okay? And the best part about Scouts is it will email you once a week, right? So if you run this once a week, it will send you an email and say, look, we found, here's your report, this is what we found. And the goal is to essentially get Scouts to the point where it's, obviously it understands your entire product and all of the information you have in here. You're building up a knowledge base. You can set it with tasks, and essentially what you'll be able to do is say, okay, I want a report at the end of the week on what features we have and what features our competitors have, with a list of features that we should add over the next month, for example, in order to keep up. And it will notify you of those things, and it will basically, essentially, think of it as a basically an employee that runs in the background for you, right? And that's kind of what we're trying to build here with Scouts. So you can see we can now go ahead and add this to chat, okay? And we can open this chat up here, and you can see, let me just close this. I'll create a new chat. Also, for the time being, remember, always try and create new conversations quite regularly. It just means things are a lot smoother, a lot quicker, a lot easier for you. We are optimizing Orchestrator's chat as well. But we can click on Add to Chat, and we're going to add this context to the chat. And we're going to say, please add this feature that Capwing has built to our mind map plan. Oops. And can you take notes on how it works, for example, and then we can send that out. And obviously, if you learn to spell better than I can, it'll probably do a better job. But basically what's going to happen now is, okay, well, Scout has full context on obviously your competitors and what features that they have added, and then from there it's now going to say, okay, well, I'm going to search the web, I'm going to read this analysis that we have, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new feature. Now, if you guys watched the demo, you would have seen that's how I added the Smart B-roll Assistant. So this Smart B-roll Assistant has been added because Veed has auto B-roll and auto edits. So it's actually analyzed the market research that it's done, and it said, look, well, this is how we should build it. This is what the user journey should be like. This is how the feature should work. And then from there, I actually added a mood board on it. And remember, guys, please be taking notes on your features. It adds a lot more context, okay? And you can do that by clicking this little plus button here and adding notes. There's loads of tools. Play around with all these different tools. And then I generated a requirement doc on how to build this feature. And again, because it has understanding of all of our other features, and in this case, it's just a demo example, we haven't got requirement docs on our other features, but it will figure out how do we actually implement this feature into our current code base. right? And just like that, so you can see here, it's given us a quick summary. Awesome. I've added AI editing Copilot. So you can see, if we come along here, we can see we've got all of this added. It said, what priority is this? So we can say, okay, this is a high priority feature. So please choose a priority. A quick summary, it's going to be natural language editing commands and a Copilot panel. By the way, these sorts of features are incredibly difficult to build. So make sure you're adding a lot of context and details to this. Auto cut and remove silences, smart B-roll suggestions from transcript keywords, which is exactly what we had in the market research report. If we come back to, I think it was this one here, I can't remember which one we were looking at now. No, it wasn't. It was this one here, I think. Would you like me to add MVB to-do list? So let me just come back to the mind map, and we're going to say, yes, I would love you to add a to-do list to this. And let's just do a bit of auto layout as well. It looks like there's been an error where it hasn't actually created the feature. So this is part of what I'm saying with our updates that are coming. Some of these things are essentially just Orchestrator that can be a little bit buggy once in a while, and obviously you guys have noticed these issues. I'm not going to pretend like we are a perfect company. We're a very small team. We are scaling very quickly, and we are adding these features and little bug fixes. But I'll show you a way to solve this problem as well, live on this as well. So MVP checklist has also been added. Okay, and don't forget. Okay, you can add, let's just do auto layout, and we're going to save this. Remember to always save your progress. But don't forget, you can add a lot of context. There's loads of different tools that you can use inside CodeSpring. So let's just have a quick look at this, right? So this is an AI editing Copilot inspired by Capwing Copilot. It's an AI editing assistant that lets users shape videos with natural language commands and automated rough cuts similar to Capwing Copilot. So here are the capabilities, okay? You can do commands like remove silence or tighten gaps or cut filler words or trim to 60 seconds. Those sorts of things, right? What priority should we assign? Okay, so it hasn't actually, this is the other thing, right, is it's going through now and it's saying, well, we've actually added this other feature, Smart B-roll Assistant. Let's add high priority to that one. And then it said, should we keep Smart B-roll Assistant as a separate feature or merge it into this? I think we should keep the two features separate. And I recommend if you're using Copilot, if you're using, not Copilot, if you're using Orchestrator, you should always have it on autopilot. We're going to rename the branding of these so it makes a little bit more sense. We're also adding little hover over toggles to explain what all of our features do as well. But you can see here it's got a full list of what are the different features that we are adding to this product. Do you want me to add anything else? I'm going to say no. Let's skip that for now. And I'm going to see if Orchestrator can figure out that we need to fix this little bug here. If it doesn't, we'll let it know. So it's given us, obviously, all of the features, and then it's created an MVP checklist. Okay, so for example, these are the things that need to be done. And these are more for the AI to know when it's coding. Okay, when it's building the feature, it has this list of to-dos on how to actually build this specific feature. So we're not ready to do this yet. I'm just going to stop this, and I'm just going to say, if we actually click on this, so this is what we call a bridge node, okay? And the bridge node is essentially the thing or the folder that contains all the information for a specific feature. So we're going to click on this. Oops, I'm going to open that again. And we're going to click down here, add one to context. And by the way, if you're ever stuck on add one to context, just click on the canvas and it will disappear. This allows you to add it to the orchestrator, okay? So we can open this up and we can say, great, you've added notes and a to-do list, but there's no feature card in the features node. Okay, and then what we can do is we can click on the features node and we can click on add to context and we can say, please add this Copilot editor feature. Okay, and the reason we do this is because by adding this thing here, okay, this is the connector. This is what's storing all of this information. And by giving this to Orchestrator, it's saying, look, just focus in on this one specific thing. And this is a very useful thing to learn just while you're building with CodeSpring is, for example, if you are building a very complicated product and you have, we've seen, a lot of you guys have like 70 or 80 different features and you've got a lot of plans going on, it can become quite hard for Copilot, for Orchestrator to go ahead and I'm getting confused between the Copilot here and Orchestrator. Can go, it's quite difficult for it to go through and read, hundreds of features and figure out all of the connections. We are improving that service, but if you actually click on add to context, for example, you can add any of these to context. It focuses it in on one specific thing. It's similar to the way that you would do on Cursor, where you tag a specific file, for example. And just like that, it's gone ahead and it's created the AI editing copilot feature, and it's then gone ahead and connected everything up. We're going to go ahead and save that, and we're going to auto layout as well. Now it's added some additional notes. It's obviously added some duplications in here. So what you can do is either manually click in and delete these duplications, or you can ask Orchestrator to manage that for you. Just remember, when you're using Orchestrator, it's going to use more of your credits, whereas if you just manually deleted it, then it's not going to use up your credits, for example. So that's another thing which we'll talk about in a future video. We are optimizing the way that credits are being used and how credits are working. Obviously, different things that you do if you're using various MCP tools. Let's tell you what, let's generate a product requirement doc for this. Let's just click on yes. Let's generate a requirement doc for this feature. And I'll tell you what I'll do is I'm going to delete this one, and I'm going to delete this one here. And I'm going to save the update so we have just these two, and we'll do auto layout, and then it will generate a requirement doc based on this context for this specific feature. So we are optimizing how Orchestrator will go ahead and use your credits, so you're not just burning through thousands and thousands of credits. Which PRD would you like to generate first? I like to start with the front-end requirement doc personally, just because that's my personal preference, really. So we'll start with the front-end requirement doc, and then obviously we'll leave it there. But hopefully you guys enjoy Scouts. If there's any other features you would like us to add, don't forget you can always come to this little button on the left-hand side, this little light bulb, and you can always submit a request. You can see what we're currently working on, automated competitor analysis. We've currently set this to in progress because we are optimizing it and improving it. But there's loads of other features that you guys are voting on. There's a couple of ones down at the bottom which some people probably haven't seen yet. So make sure you regularly keep up to date with this and submit any feature requests that you want. We're also adding a better bug reporting system into the app as well. Cool, and just like that, let's just auto lay this out. I'm going to stop this here because we don't need to continue, but it's gone ahead and it's created a front-end requirement doc for how to build that specific feature. So just like that, in, I don't know, what's this been, 20 minutes, we've gone through, we have researched all of our competitors, we found a new feature that we want to add, we've then gone through and taken notes on how we want to add it and started building front-end requirement docs. Now, don't forget, you can generate back-end requirement docs just by clicking this button here. It will still obviously use credits, but it will use probably slightly less credits than it would if you used Orchestrator. All of the things that you do in Orchestrator can be done by clicking around in the canvas as well. So this is just part of what we're trying to do to enable you to have extra tools to help you with designing a product. Okay, everything that we are creating is helping you with identifying if the product that you're building is worth building, what your competitors are doing to make your product better. If you have an existing product and you're competing with other companies, how to make sure your product is always up to date and keeping up with competitors, and also then giving you the tools that you need to go ahead and build an incredible product. Remember, everything that you've built inside Lovable or Cursor can then be fed back into CodeSpring as well. There's a whole host of really cool, exciting features that we want to add moving forward into the future. I'm going to go ahead and generate database design as well. Another quick note for those of you guys who are still watching at the end of this video, if you have any connection issues with Lovable, there is a bug going on with Lovable's MCP at the moment. There's not a lot we can do about it. We are trying our very best to sort of see if we can, what we can do on our end to make it easier with the connection with Lovable. But Lovable's MCP is very, very new. So if you are integrating with Lovable and you're experiencing problems, please do let us know, because we love to hear your feedback. If there's anything we can do to fix it, we will do. But for the time being, Lovable's MCP is just very, very unstable, and that may be causing you issues. And if that's the case, there are other ways you can do this. You can copy your requirement docs over and use those manually inside Lovable as well, if that's easier for you. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this little announcement, this new update. If you like this update, don't forget to react with it with a fire emoji or something, so we know that you guys are enjoying these new updates. I'll let you know if there's any new updates coming out very, very soon, and we'll do some more posts as well inside the Discord.